Hello everyone, I'm so thrilled that you guys get to be with us today. We are going through our 4th week in the book of Proverbs. And today we are going to be talking about how God's wisdom is the foundation of our life. And we need to build our houses on that strong foundation. But before we begin with our story and our object lesson, I want us to do a little bit of worship first, okay? So can I have all you guys, once again, all rise up on your feet, stand with me so we can all worship God together.
Searching, you found me. Your love opened my eyes. My heart forever changed. No more standing still, no more going back. Oh, your love is moving me. I came alive when you found me. I'll never be the same. No more standing still, no more going back. Oh, your love is moving me. I came alive when you found me. I'll never be the same. Oh, I shout it out to everyone around me. I am forever changed. Your love is moving me, yeah.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, was your fault, still your love fought for me. You have been so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
Hey everyone, it's traditions time. So you guys know what to do. We're gonna say a verse, you guys can film it and then send it to us. And then if you guys get 5 of those submissions in, we're gonna send you a gift card so you guys can get some ice cream, okay? So this week we have a new verse. We're gonna be reading 1 John 5:20. And the verse is, "And we know that the Son of God has come, and he's given us understanding so that we can know the true God." 1 John 5:20. So this week, I want you guys to do something a little different. I want you guys to quote this verse while you're standing on top of a good foundation, like a rock or this block I'm standing on. Find a good spot to stand on top of and send that video in to us, okay? Send it in to 909-767-9314. Hope to see your submission soon.
Psalms, Proverbs, and parables do it, talking about the wisdom here for you. Every book, every page, every storyline, a poetry, history, inspired divine. Wisdom for life, for every day. Wisdom for your soul as you're making your way through the tough times. You gotta trust your God. Through the good times, you gotta trust your God.
Who doesn't love a good story.
When Jesus told them, they were revelatory.
He spoke in words and pictures that they understood.
About ordinary things in your neighborhood.
These parables are simple enough
To help people understand the kingdom above.
from mustard seeds to the prodigal son.
Revealing the truth one by one. Psalms, Proverbs, and parables too. We're talking about the wisdom here for you. Every book, every page, every storyline of poetry, history, inspired divine. Wisdom for life, for every day. Wisdom for your soul as you're making your way
Through the tough times,
You gotta trust your God.
through the good times,
You gotta trust your God. The common thread that we come across
is the love of God and his heart for the lost.
a lost sheep, lost coins, fathers and sons.
Build on the rock and you'll hit a home run.
We'll take it from us. Wise people are rare,
But you could be one of them
if you have ears to hear. So read the words that Jesus said.
They're easy to find. Look for the letters in red.
Psalms, Proverbs, and parables too. We're talking about the wisdom here for you. Every book, every page, every storyline of poetry, history, inspired divine. Wisdom for life, for every day. Wisdom for your soul as you're making your way
Through the tough times,
You gotta trust your God.
through the good times.
You gotta trust your God.
All right, everyone, it is time for our story. And once again, we have Miss Kim with us.
Hey, hey.
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
You have
Thanks
a-
for having me.
Yeah, glad. You have a good week?
I did. It was a little hot. But I
It was
had
a
good
little
week.
hot. Okay, glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you a story?
Please
before we begin?
do. Please do.
Well, I didn't have as great a week as you're saying. I had to mess up. I messed up.
What'd you do, Caden?
I was making dinner, right? So my parents went out on a date, so they're gone. It's just me and my brother right now. I don't know where my sister is. And we decide we should have some pizza, right? They left us some pizza in the freezer. And I was like, oh, I know how to make pizza. So I take it out, and it's like crumbling cheese everywhere, and it's like a very white pizza, it looks like. I didn't see any red sauce on it. I was a little confused. But in any case, I took that pizza and I just popped it right in the oven, right? And I know how to do that. You preheat it, you set it to 450 degrees,
Yeah.
right?
Sounds good so far.
So I got all that right.
Okay.
And it was fine for about 5 minutes. And then the smoke alarm went off.
Cool.
So I was like, oh, well, that happens sometimes, right? We forgot to turn on the fan. So we opened the front door and turn on the fan in the dining room and the living room, okay?
Do you always do that when you cook pizza?
No,
Okay,
but
okay.
smoke happens from time to time.
Smoke happens. Okay.
So I was just figuring it's a normal thing.
Okay.
And then my brother complained there's a lot of smoke coming out of the oven. It's out seeping out of the crack of the oven. There's so much smoke in there he couldn't see through the little glass window. So I was like, okay, something's going wrong, and I had to call my mom. And she's like, oh, you know what, maybe the oven's backed up, and the whole time the alarm is still going off, and my brother's getting a little scared, and he's waving a pillow at the smoke alarm to try to get the smoke out of the way and turn it off, right? And I'm just like, what is going on? What's wrong with my pizza? And finally I'm like, I think I should just get it out of there. It's not
idea.
on fire. It's just making a lot of smoke.
A lot of smoke.
I open the oven door, and the entire pizza is dripping cheese because I had put the pizza in the oven upside down.
Oh, yeah, that's not right.
No. So the cheese is all in the bottom of the oven, just boiling and sending smoke off everywhere. And the top of it is charred and destroyed. And the
Yeah.
cheese, it looked like a nuclear accident.
That
It
doesn't
was-
sound good, Caden.
No, it was really bad. So dinner would have been ruined, but we went and got McDonald's.
Oh, so, yeah.
So it turned out to be a good day after all. Unfortunately, it's a good waste of a $10 pizza.
And maybe some cleanup.
Guess what I had to do the next morning?
I bet I know.
I cleaned it up.
Yeah.
Well, and that took a long time.
I bet it did.
In any case, that was the story of my weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I had a little bit better of a weekend
Right.
than you.
But at least you kind of relate to my story, right?
Oh, yes. Sadly,
Yeah.
I can relate.
Okay.
Yes.
So you understand my pain.
I do.
My sorrow right now. Well, that, Miss Kim, is the power of stories.
Absolutely.
Right?
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Well, Jesus also used parables. He used stories as parables, and that way was able to communicate his message, right? And
Absolutely.
just like I'm communicating my message, which is don't put the pizza in the oven upside down.
Yes.
Also-
Good lesson learned.
It might be pay more attention when you're like cooking, right?
Yes.
But in both cases, those are good lessons to learn, right?
Yes.
So just like in Proverbs, we want to see what kind of lessons and morals these stories are trying to teach.
Very important. Yep.
So you ready to move into story time?
I am. I'm ready.
Okay. I think we have a cool object lesson today too.
All right.
Hello everyone. So now we are beginning our story time with a little bit of an object lesson.
Ready?
You ready?
I'm ready.
Well, you're gonna be the storyteller.
Okay, I'm ready to tell the
Okay,
story.
you tell the story and I'll reenact it right here.
Okay.
So go for it.
All right.
This is a parable, right, though?
This is a parable, so there will be a lesson learned.
Okay, there'll be a
Yes.
lesson learned. So just like the Proverbs,
Yes.
but this is from Jesus, not Solomon.
Yes.
All right, let's hear it.
Ready? Okay. There once were two neighbors. Jesus said they both bought a plot of land perfectly proportioned to build their dream home. One of the neighbors was a very wise man.
That's this guy. Hi, I'm a very wise man.
He took a lot of time and put a lot of effort in to ensure that the foundations were strong and secure before he began building his house.
Okay, so wait. He has a house. I'm gonna give him the big house because he's wise.
Okay, yeah,
Is that
good
cool?
idea. Yeah.
Okay, so here's his house right here. He's sitting on top of his house. I love his hair.
That's some pretty cool hair.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, he used rock and concrete, good strong material, so that his house was built on a firm foundation.
Oh, I got that. This work?
Yes, that looks like a very firm foundation.
Okay, so he builds his house on this.
Firm foundation.
Oh, look at me. I built my house on a firm foundation, and I'm wise.
Very wise. Not long after he had completed his house and moved in, a great storm hit his town.
Oh, can you pass me the water bucket?
Oh yes.
Here, wait.
Oh yes,
Can I
a great
make it
storm.
rain?
A great storm is coming. A great storm. Ooh, a great storm.
He's okay.
He is okay, even after that great storm. The rains came down and the streams and rivers rose. Howling winds beat against the man's house with great force, but it did not move.
Hi, I'm wise, and my house is on a firm foundation, and I'm okay.
The house stood still. It remained intact with no damage, all because it was built on a firm foundation.
Wise man.
Wise man. Then Jesus explained what it meant. Everyone who hears my words and puts them into practice is exactly like this wise man who built his house on the rock. Don't just hear my words, put them into practice. All right. And what about the other neighbor?
Oh, right, we have a second one.
Yes,
This
we have
guy.
another one. Those of you who hear my teaching but choose to not put my words into practice are exactly like the other neighbor. The other neighbor was a foolish man.
Oh.
Instead of using rock and concrete for his foundations, he used sand. Yeah. He cut corners. Sure, the house looked good.
It's a small house, but it looks really
looks
good, right?
Yeah, it looks good. But was it built to last?
We'll
I
see.
don't know. The very same storm that struck the wise man's house also hit the foolish man's house.
Same storm. He's drowning.
It's
His
drowning.
water. His house is half underwater.
The rains came down, the streams and rivers rose, and howling winds beat against the house with force. The house came crashing down to the ground. Crashing down to the ground. All because it was built on the wrong foundation. Again, Jesus reminded those listening, hear my words, put them into practice, or you may end up like the foolish man. Let my teaching be your firm foundation. When Jesus finished speaking, the people were amazed by his words. This was the best teaching they had ever heard.
Wow. Well, you know what I really like about that is that he uses his parables to talk about situations that we understand, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're adults. We understand building houses.
We do.
And mortgages, and I'm just kidding.
Do you understand mortgages?
No. But we do understand at least how a house works and
Yes.
foundations. And I'm sorry, I got everything wet.
The house is gone,
The house-
completely washed away.
It's broken. Well, Jesus uses relatable situations to help us understand his messages, right?
Yes,
Once again,
absolutely.
using the power of words, like from last week. and also being able to communicate like this wisdom, right? And
Yes.
helping us understand how to be like this wise man
Yep.
by following his actions
Yep.
and instead of being the foolish man,
Right.
right? We want to build our foundation on God's wisdom, okay? And when we're applying God's wisdom to our lives daily, especially by seeking out his word and learning to understand what he's trying to tell us, then we're putting our lives on a strong and firm area. We're not going to be shaken, even when the world tries to tear us down, right?
The storms come, we're ready.
Exactly. It was like a symbol of all the troubles that we can go through.
Right.
But if we're not prepared for it, we can end up like this guy.
Yeah.
His whole foundation is gone.
Washed away.
Just mud. Well, at least we can learn that God's wisdom gives us wisdom for life, right?
Yes. Yes.
There was a time that the Pharisees and teachers of the law got upset with Jesus because he was spending time with sinners. When Jesus heard this, he began to tell parables. Imagine with me, if you will, said Jesus. Say you have 100 sheep that you're responsible for. You count a couple of times to make sure you're not missing one, only to discover that you are. Wouldn't you search the countryside until you find it? And when you found the missing sheep, wouldn't you pick him up and head home telling your friends the good news? I tell you the truth. In the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who do not need to repent. In another story, he said, suppose a woman has a total of 10 silver coins to her name. Now imagine if she loses one. Do you think she'll search her house from top to bottom until she finds it? Then when she does, tell her neighbors and friends? In the same way, Jesus said, there is rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents. Then Jesus told another story. There was once a man who had 2 sons. One day, the younger son went to his dad and asked for his inheritance. The father graciously agreed. So the son set off with the money to a distant country and spent it very quickly. Sadly, he wasted it. Shortly after, the country was struck by famine, and desperate, the son hired himself out to a local and worked on a farm feeding pigs. Day after day, he watched them eat. In fact, he got so hungry, he was tempted to eat the pigs' food. Then he came to his senses. He remembered life with his father and began to miss home. This is when he made a big decision. I'm going back to my father, he said to himself. And when I see him, I'll say, I've sinned against God, sinned before you. I don't deserve to be called your son. So take me on as one of your workmen, as hired help. As he came across fields in his old hometown, his dad saw him in the distance. His father ran out to him and embraced him. The son began his speech, but the father wasn't listening, and he called out to his servants, bring a clean set of clothes and shoes and put the family ring on his finger, for we are going to feast. My son is here, given up for lost and now found. Jesus was explaining that he and his Father in heaven find lost people and celebrate when they do. God's word gives us wisdom for life.
And that concludes our story for the week. I'm so glad that you guys were able to join us. I'm going to close us out with a passage from Matthew 7:25. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on a firm foundation. So make sure to continue to seek out God's wisdom, make it the foundation of your life. Can't wait to see you guys next week.